Good morning, everyone. Those of you on Zoom are probably also witnessing various people getting themselves organized in order to listen to a few words. And we have the good fortune to be able to see the Upaya Zendo in that kind of traditional upright position. Lovely to see. Thank you all for coming today. And I want to extend my thanks, of course, to Roshi Joan for her wisdom teaching yesterday and her perspectives on the text that we're studying. She brought a great deal of intimacy to the sense of the practice of study and of zazen, of meditation practice. And I also want to thank Kaz Sensei for all the scholarship and creative work he does in a lifetime of looking at Dogen and translating. And he brought those teachings to the English-speaking world. I understand that he is now quite well, and we're not to worry. We'll be seeing him soon enough, not in this session, but he's fine. So please don't worry. I don't know what time of day it is for you. It's one-ish here in New York City. And I just always say that because I'm just amazed at our ability to study together and to sit together across all these time zones. I wonder what Dogen Zenji would do if he had had the ability to Zoom and offer a practice to China and Korea and other parts of Japan. Might have been interesting, huh? There's a note at the end of this study text that we have, Mountains and Rivers Sutra, that says at the very end, presented to the assembly at Kanandori Kosho Horin Monastery at the hour of the rat, which is midnight, the 18th day, the 10th month, the first year of the Ninji era. And that would be 1240. You know, what struck me about that is he offered this amazing piece of writing to his Sangha at midnight. It made me wonder, did he wake everyone up and tell them to come in because he had a teaching to offer? Or were they typically sitting zazen at midnight? That's kind of interesting, isn't it? The state of mind, the midnight state of mind. Maybe we can imagine listening to these incredibly skilled and poetic evocations of the Dharma in the middle of the night. And I also appreciated yesterday when Roshi Joan situated the text in the outskirts of Kyoto in the early years of Dogen's teaching life. It's good to know that he was writing about these mountains and these rivers when he was in fact just outside a little village or the capital of Japan at the time. No matter where we are, you know, though, we can sit like a mountain. If you're on a beach, you can sit like a mountain. Because Dogen's notions of mountains take in so much more than the physicality that we think of. He wrote, because mountains are high and broad, their way of riding the clouds always extends from the mountains. Their wondrous power of soaring in the wind comes freely from the mountains. So notice the subject is mountains, and then the descriptor. Because mountains are high and broad, their way of riding the clouds always extends from the mountains. Their wondrous power of soaring in the wind comes freely from the mountains. So this section teaches me the power of practice, the power of intention, the power of ritual, the power of determination that is embodied in our daily meditation practice, our daily sitting Zen, sitting mind, Zazen. Our daily investment in the mountain of practice. And sitting as grounded and solidly as a mountain. And yet, as the text says, riding the clouds and soaring the winds. So it's grounded in the mountains. But of course, the mountains are reaching in to the wind, into the clouds, into the sky. So I like to think of that as my practice now, these days, in these times. How is it for us to sit and allow the earth to hold us in the midst of so much discernible change, in the midst of the reshaping of the world, the ongoing renewing of our lives, our habits, our ways of speaking, and our ways of being? When we witness the anger and frustration of so many who fear change, who fear the righting of old ways of persecution, who fear protecting and sharing the benefits of our great earth, when we witness that anger and that fear, that's exactly when we need to sit like a mountain and allow ourselves to benefit from what Dogen calls riding the clouds. In such a way, we can recover our equanimity, our ability to make change in a wise way, to walk like a mountain, solid and yet moving, to be translucent and kinetic as a river. Dogen says in this piece, if walking had stopped, Buddha ancestors would not have appeared. If walking ends, the Buddha Dharma cannot reach the present. Walking forward does not cease. Walking backward does not cease. Walking forward does not obstruct walking backward. Walking backward does not obstruct walking forward. This is called the mountain's flow and the flowing mountains. Now, I call this, this is like one of the songs that Dogen sings. I mean, it's so beautiful the way he takes the words and turns them and turns them. Listen again to that. If walking had stopped, Buddha ancestors would not have appeared. If walking ends, the Buddha Dharma cannot reach the present. Walking forward does not cease. Walking backward does not cease. Walking forward does not obstruct walking backward. Walking backward does not obstruct walking forward. This is called the mountain's flow and the flowing mountains. When I first heard the expression flowing mountains, what is he talking about? But when he turns it and turns it and turns it, we began to be a part of that flowing mountains. I see this as an encouragement to, as they said in the old Chinese way, to stop and see. We stop and realize our mountain of practice, our own mountain of practice, our zazen, our willingness to practice our lives to practice, to stop and see. And then, like the mountains, we walk. We walk into our lives and into the lives of the mountains around us. Like the mountains, we ride the clouds. We engage in giving support, in alleviating suffering. We serve the mountains and rivers of life. Or as Roshi Jones said yesterday, we even serve the high rises and highways. And this is the lively, energetic aspect of practice. It arises naturally and paradoxically, really, from our calm and quiet sitting. It's like the classic Zen description of fullness is emptiness. Here's how Dogen expresses it in this piece. And I love this section. Priest Daokai of Mount Furong said to the assembly, "The green mountains are always walking. A stone woman gives birth to a child at night." Priest Daokai of Mount Furong said to the assembly, "The green mountains are always walking. A stone woman gives birth to a child at night." Daokai, this is an old koan actually, or a commentary to a koan. And here Dogen are both pointing to the restless, always changing, always moving aspect of reality. Green mountains, you can just see them always walking. And whether you think of a green mountain as a lump of earth, like Cerro Gordo or the Himalayas, or we think of mountains as the great teachers who have wandered the mountains, or we think of them mountains as mountains themselves, symbols of the teachings of impermanence, the teachings of no separate self, the teachings of the ubiquity of suffering. Those are two mountains, and they are always walking, always moving, always changing, always transforming. The green mountains are always walking. I think we get that. But what about the next line? A stone woman gives birth to a child at night. This phrase haunts me, has haunted me. What is a stone woman? A stone does not move. Is it a statue? If a statue, what kind of child does it give birth to? Another statue? Or a living being? Or an idea? Or a teaching? I think she gives birth to vast emptiness, no holiness, in the dark, so that nothing can be seen, nothing can be touched. It is a dark silence. It's that mysterious aspect of reality that our daily practice of Zazen allows us to see. Our daily practice of Zazen makes it real to us. That we are simultaneously present and alive to all of the events in our lives. And at the same time, the formless reality, the timeless reality of all that is, or is not. All that is not. Call it emptiness. But I'd rather call it fullness, vastness, everythingness. Dogen continues, A stone woman gives birth to a child at night means that the moment when a barren woman gives birth to a child, it's called night. So again, night is when it is dark, hard to see. We don't discriminate. And instead, we're simply amazed that she has given birth. It's like when we're left without a way forward, when we're stumped and unable to see how we can help, how we can serve, how we can be strong in the face of greed, anger, and ignorance in ourselves and in others, in our world. And at such a time, we give birth, even though it's impossible. Still, we do it. And Dogen explains, there are male stones, female stones, and non-male, non-female stones placed in the sky and the earth. They are called heavenly stones and earthly stones. These are explained in the ordinary world, but not many people know about it. I'll read that again. There are male stones, female stones, and non-male, non-female stones placed in the sky and in the earth. They are called heavenly stones and earthly stones. These are explained in the ordinary world, but not many people know it. I wonder at, and marvel kind of at Dogen's prescience. Did he recognize that 800 years later, we would be able to recognize non-male and non-female stones, trans stones? Just kidding, I wanted to give you a little dose of levity in the midst of this kind of hard work sometimes working with this text, but you know, it does yield if we work on it, if we really look and become intimate with it. Here's how Dogen continues that section. Understand the meaning of giving birth to a child. At the moment of giving birth to a child, is the mother separate from the child? Study not only that you become a mother when your child is born, but also that you become a child. This is to actualize giving birth in practice realization. Study and investigate this thoroughly. So there's the key there. This is to actualize giving birth in practice realization. Now listen to that, recognizing he's talking about the birth of your zazen, of your meditation practice. Understand the meaning of gives birth to a child. At the moment of giving birth to a child, is the mother separate from the child? Study not only that you become a mother when your child is born, but also that you become a child. This is to actualize giving birth in practice realization. Study and investigate this thoroughly. What would it be like to treat our zazen like we treat ourselves? What would it be like to not talk about our zazen as this thing I do over there separate from me, but to actually simply be the child, be the zazen? What is that child that Dogen's writing about? Is the child another being? Or is the child what is born of our deep practice? And the mother is the one who practices, the one who walks like the mountains, the one who flows like the rivers. I wonder if you can experience that quality of mothering in your own practice. And not the same practice, realization, mother and child. Practice, realization, mother and child. I have to say that these days, this first quarter of the 21st century are difficult days for me. I don't know why. I mean, I've struggled in social action all my life, but I had some idealistic view of the 21st century and the human condition, you know. Somehow enlightened beings would begin to utilize our resources and intelligence for the benefit of all beings, the benefit of the great earth. And when I see it clouded still with greed and anger of those who are actually the most comfortable and least in need, that's when why I keep repeating the classic three poisons of Buddhism, reminding myself that it is within us, this greed, this anger, and this ignorance. It seems to these days be giving strong new forces throughout the world. So I do turn to Dogen at such a time for some kind of solace, a way through. So here's this section of the fascicle that gives me hope. Clearly examine the green mountains walking and your own walking. Examine walking backward and backward walking, and investigate the fact that walking forward and backward has never stopped since the very moment before form arose, since the time of the king of the empty aeon. If walking had stopped, Buddha ancestors would not have appeared. If walking ends, the Buddha Dharma cannot reach the present. Walking forward does not cease. Walking backward does not cease. Walking forward does not obstruct walking backward. Walking backward does not obstruct walking forward. This is called the mountains flow and the flowing mountains. Imagine it's midnight, the outskirts of Kyoto. You're struggling with staying awake, sitting in a zazen posture. And he writes, clearly examine the green mountains walking and your own walking. The teachings walking and your own walking. Examine walking backward and backward walking. And investigate the fact that walking forward and backward has never stopped since the very moment before form arose. This is life. This is our life. Walking forward, walking backward, with all the other teachings of the mountains that are walking forward and walking backward. If walking had stopped, Buddha ancestors would not have appeared. If walking ends, the Buddha Dharma cannot reach the present. Walking forward does not cease. That's where we are now. We are walking forward. Does not obstruct the walking backward. This is called the mountains flow and the flowing mountains. In this section, I feel encouraged by Dogen telling us to bring our own understanding of this very moment, our own walking, and also the walking of the ancient teachings. That by virtue of their walking, their movement in space and time have changed, are changing, and can deliver to us today what we need to actualize the Buddha way. Looking for progress? Remember the line, and investigate the fact that walking forward and backward has never stopped our lives, the lives of the earth and its peoples, has never been a straight line of progress, but rather zigzagging along, forward and backward, forward and backward. This section tells me to not despair. The mountains will continue to walk. And when Dogen continues in this section, he assures us about the practice of the flowing mountains. Walking forward does not obstruct walking backward. Walking backward does not obstruct walking forward. This is called the mountains flow and the flowing mountains. Can we understand our practice in such a way? Can we understand our lives in this changing world in such a way? The mountains are walking, political allegiances are shifting, remedies to climate change are gaining ground, losing ground, gaining ground. Pronouns are changing. People are walking across the earth like the mountains that continually walk. Can we find the wisdom of mountains and rivers today? I think that's what we're about. That's why we gather to sit together, either in person or on Zoom, to reconnect with our inherent relationship to the earth, the water, the air, and the fire. I encourage us all to connect to these teachings of Dogen's. They are so important at this time. I encourage us to take advantage of the opportunity that Roshi is offering us in this Rohatsu Sesshin. Consider these words as I end this reading of the first few lines of Dogen's Mountains and Rivers. Today, in this very life, your response matters. It matters to the mountains. It matters to the rivers. It matters to short lives of those who live now. Take care. Everything is moving.
Creatures are numberless, I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible, I vow to transform them. Reality